Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start by giving our praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rekha HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well, and peace and blessings to the hopeful elect, pushing this word with all truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Shalom, shalom. It's your brother Kwame Wathel, the Great Millstone Charlotte Camp. Come with a quick lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. And this afternoon, just real quick, I wanted to touch on how the distinction between the righteous and the wicked, is being being made evident, man. Right? The inspiration for that coming from these verses here in Malachi chapter 3, right? Chiefly the 18th verse. But we're seeing, man, day in and day out, right? Examples being made of men, right? to solidify the fear of the elect, man, right? To show the world who truly has this word, right? Who Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai is truly dealing with, we'll see the man who don't push the chip as the mark of the beast, right? We see the man who continually change the name. We have the example with the Genesis, bug outs, right? them putting down the plow, and we're seeing that GMS is the only camp and the people who follow the same doctrine, right, who have the truth, man, right? That distinction, that line in the sand is being made clearer and clearer day in and day out, So I want to start here, Malachi 3 and verse 16. It reads, "Then they that feared the Lord spake often one to another, and the Lord hearkened and heard it. And a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared the Lord and that thought upon his name," right? So just another scripture that that shows you the importance of the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, man, right? The fear of the Lord, the fear, like it says in the NLT, right? Let's just start at the top. It says, "And those who feared the Lord spoke with each other, and the Lord listened to what they said. In his presence to a scroll. In his presence, a scroll of remembrance was written to record the names of those who feared him and always thought about the honor of his name," right? The name of the Lord, man. The honor, the legacy that's attached to it, right? Continually speaking about it, continually, exalting it, magnifying it, man, right? The Lord can magnify it himself, but how much more us? We know where our power comes from, right? And we want to give all the glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, man, right? 17, "And they shall be mine, saith the Lord of hosts, in that day when I make up my jewels, and I will spare them as a man spareth his own son that serveth him," right? So who's serving Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, right? The ones who serve the Lord. Actually, let's get that word serveth real quick, right? It should be ibad. Yep. Strong's H 5747 or 5647. Ibad. It says to labor, to work, to do work, to work for another, serve another by labor, right? To serve the Most High, right? This is what we're doing. To compel, to labor, or work, cause to labor, cause to serve as subjects, right? Because who is really working in the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, man, right? Starting with our apostles and elders and leadership on down, man, right? Starting in GMS, right? Those are the ones who are working for Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. When you come in that correct name, you're doing the work, for the Lord, man, right? These other men are doing what? The works in the name of Jesus Christ, right? They're doing works for Yeshua and all these other names, man, right? But we're the only ones who are working for Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, right? They're working for Satan at the end of the day, which he's, Satan is the power of the Lord on the left hand, right? But these men are doing the work to pull the sheep away, But like it says, "And they shall be mine, saith the Lord of hosts, in that day when I make up my jewels, and I will spare them as a man spareth his own son that serveth him. So the only ones who are going to receive that sparing, right, from these times are those who serve the Lord and serve him in the correct names, you know? And again, just going back to the title of the lesson, right, it's being made more and more evident every day, right, who's serving the Lord and who's not. As it reads here in verse 18, then shall ye return and discern between the righteous and the wicked, between him that serveth the Most High and him that serveth him not. And these men are serving their own bellies. They serving Esau. They serving Satan, right? Coming in these different names, right? They serving all these off doctrines, right? So it's clear as day, right? That's why when the scriptures talk about in the Habakkuk, right, it shall be made plain upon tables, right? The name is made plain. Prophecies are made plain, right? This understanding is made plain, right? Going into being made, easily understandable, right? Habakkuk 2:2. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables that he may run that readeth it, right? So it's plain. But like the scriptures say, these things are plain unto the holy, but they're stumbling blocks to the wicked, right? Going back, to that Malachi, right? Because like it says here, then shall ye return and discern between the righteous and the wicked, right? You're going to see the difference, and it's getting clearer and clearer who the righteous are and who the wicked are, man, right? Between him that serveth the Most High and him that serveth him not. Now, I got the title here from this excerpt out of the text commentary for David Guzik, right? Now, when you read this, it says here, one day this dilemma will be cleared up, right? Because people are still going back and forth between who has the truth or not, man, right? But it's being cleared up. It's being made evident, right? Now, who has this word, right? Who the Lord is truly dealing with, The dilemma of what camp people should be, listening to, right? What doctrine they should be taking heed to, Because years back, right? My brief time, you see, the disbandment of Sakari, which turned into Genesis, which turned into whatever ministries they became. And now they just dissolved off into the ether, man. Right? You see IUIC continually pushing that Christian spirit, right, in Israel. Right? You see, them going hand in hand with the Nation of Islam. You see ISUPK, right? Trying to get people to adopt a more worldly ideal of the ministry, man, right? Saying that, they worship a nigger god and things of that nature, That's the dilemma that was laid out before the masses, man, right? So now it's you choose, right? Going back to discerning, right? You discern, right? Who has the truth and who doesn't, right? And it's being made clearer and clearer and clearer, man. It says one day this dilemma will be cleared up. In the end, the distinction between the righteous and the wicked will be evident, man. Let's look at that word evident real quick. Right? Plain, obvious, clearly seen or understood. Let me see what else. If they got the... let's see. Clear to the vision or understanding, right? So back at that Habakkuk, right? Playing upon tables, man, right? It's being made clearer and clearer every day, right? Where the truth resides, man. And it's what the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, right? The Spirit is dealing with our leadership, and it's being disseminated, through the ranks, man, right? And the believers are receiving it, But like it says in Daniel. And we'll close with this. Daniel 12:12. Actually, 12:10. Starting 9. Daniel 12 and 9. And he said, Go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed till the time of the end. Many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. So the wise are going to be able to make that distinction, right, between the righteous and the wicked. The wise are going to be able to see, where the truth is truly coming from, man, who the Lord is really dealing with in these times, right? Who's teaching about the mark of the beast, right? Who's teaching about the miracles and spiritual power? Who's teaching about, right, the angels, right, coming in those clouds of heaven that they misidentify as UFOs, man, right? Right? Who's teaching these things? Who's teaching the correct names, right? Right? You see men who have compromised themselves and went off into other doctrines and went off into other avenues of teaching and thought, right, of false ways, man. And you see what becomes of them. And it's happening quicker and quicker, right? So we're about to see more and more examples be made, of Israel in these times to come, right? To make that point even more evident, man. Just going back to that, we'll close with that, right? This is Malachi 3 and 18 and the David Guzik Biblical Commentary. Right. It says here, one day this dilemma will be cleared up. In the end, the distinction between the righteous and the wicked will be evident, man. Right. So this is where we're coming, man. And it's being made more and more evident, right, where the truth resides, So Lord willing, I was edifying through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. I want to close by giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rechah HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well, and peace and blessings to the hopeful elect, pushing this word with all truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Shalom, shalom, and Kwam Yasharallah, and the Bible Ball. Shalom.